Hello students, today we are going to start with our first chapter. Its first topic is sampling in analytical chemistry. Now let's try to understand what this analytical science deals with basically. It is the identification and quantification of the components of a material. Okay, and we can identify as well as quantify. So first of all, before identification and quantification, we have to understand what all basic starting material we have to start with, that is the sampling is the major part of this, and let's understand how it goes. Now what is this sampling basically? It is to obtain a sample that represents the bulk system. We have to represent a bulk system in sampling, and a good sample must possess all the characteristics of the entire bulk system with respect to the analyte and the analyte concentration in the system. So what I want to say is, when a homogeneous liquid sample is used, it presents us few problems, but for solid samples, number of portions are to be combined to ensure that a representative sample is finally selected for analysis. Now suppose what I can explain here with you with an example here is, like suppose if a lake, you want to check a mercury level in this sample, and it is found out to be 12 ppm when you took a small sample of water and took it to the lab, and finally the answer came out to be 12 ppm. Then what we will assume is that the sample is the representative of the entire lake, and the entire lake is assumed to be 12 ppm mercury. Thus the analyst simply needs to take all possible variations into account when obtaining a sample. So for obtaining a sample, we should think about all these things: what sample we are taking, from where we are taking, what analysis we are going to do, whether it is a homogeneous sample, a heterogeneous sample. Because a heterogeneous sample we need to collect from several places. Like suppose, for example, you want to do an analysis of a soil sample from a field. Then you should take the sample from different parts of the field in case the field is quite big, because it's not mandatory that one part of the soil will have the same amount of minerals as the other part. So we have to make sure that the sample is the representative of the entire thing. Now let's try to understand what is the statistics of sampling and what is the correct method to perform the analysis. So first we should do the sample handling very carefully. Once the sample is collected, it has to be strictly preserved. Okay, suppose it needs low temperature for preserving, or you need a special type of container, then you need to preserve it in a very nice way. Suppose you are collecting a blood sample, so then you have seen that when you collect a blood sample, we generally in that vial they put an anticoagulant so that your blood don't coagulate, and they also try to store it at a lower temperature so that by the time it reaches the lab it doesn't degrade. So that is the way they are handling the sample. Now after you get the data, you should know how to evaluate the analytical data. So for evaluating the analytical data, we should go through the error analysis. What is the error present in that? Monitoring the measurement and analysis of the result, comparing with the original data. These points we have already discussed, so I am not repeating them. You can just note them down. So evaluation includes what? Error analysis, monitoring the measurement, and analysis of the result, comparing with the original data. So let's see how the error analysis goes. Before going to error analysis, we have to understand what basically means with data handling and evaluation, which is where two more terms I need to define, that is accuracy and precision. We have discussed them in great detail during the class also. Here also I am going to explain you. Accuracy is the degree of agreement between the measured value and the true value or the accepted true value. Okay, and what is precision? It is defined as the degree of agreement between the replicate measurements of the same quantity. That means suppose it's a dart board here, so in the center, suppose this is the true value which you are expecting if any dart is going to hit at the center or in this square box. Now what we can say here is most of the readings which we have taken are in the center as well as close to each other. That means this data is very good in accuracy and in precision. In this case, the precision is good because the values are very close to each other, but they are very far off from the true value. In the next case, you can see that there is a poor accuracy and poor precision because it is neither close to the central value and the values are also very far off from each other. So we have to see what type of data we are going to deal with, and similarly, obviously we should try to get a more precise data because it guarantees more of closeness to the true value. Now let's see how this precision can be expressed. Precision can be expressed as in terms of standard deviation, coefficient of variance or variation, and confidence interval about the mean value. Before we go for further calculations, let's understand few of the terms in statistics which we generally use. That is the mean, median and other things. Let's try to understand that. Mean. It is the sum of all the numbers in a set divided by the amount of numbers in the set. You have done this before, you have done in maths, basic maths, and this is basic maths basically. Median is the middle point of the number set in which half of the numbers are above the median and half are below. Okay, so let's see, this is the question which I am giving it to you, and you have to calculate the mean and median. Okay, so calculate the mean and median and let me know. This median ka answer I have given also. What do you mean by range? Range is represented by W. It is the difference between the largest and the smallest value in the data set. So in this, what will be the range? 56 minus 11. Okay, you can calculate. Then standard deviation. Standard deviation is represented by S or sigma. Now how much each measurement differs from the mean is an important number and is called the deviation. That means how much it is deviating from the mean value, because whatever is the result we are getting, it is the mean of all the values. So the true value is somewhere near the mean. So how much it is deviating from the mean value is the standard deviation. It shows the variation which exists from the average or the mean. Now let's try to understand if we get a low value, what does this mean? So low standard deviation indicates that the data points tend to be very close to the mean, and high standard deviation indicates that the data points are spread out over a range of the values. That means कि in case you are getting a high value of standard deviation, that means it is very far off from the mean value. Okay, lot of values are there which are far off from the mean value, and otherwise they are very close to the mean value. So more closer to the mean value, more precise is the data and more accurate is the data. Okay, now let's see the formula, mathematical formula, which is represented either by S or sigma. It is the square root of x1 minus x bar ka whole square plus x2 minus x bar ka whole square plus x3 minus x bar ka whole square, and so on, how many values there are, divided by n minus 1. Okay, what is x bar is mean, which we have calculated before. N minus 1 is for small number of values. In case the number of values are less, then you can just do it by n. Okay, so if the number of data points are very high, then n can also work. For low number of values like below 10, you need to do n minus 1. Okay, then there is some term called as relative standard deviation, which is expressed in percentage, and once you obtain by multiplying your sigma, that is relative standard deviation, not sigma, relative standard deviation by 100. Okay, now I am giving you one question here. Calculate the mean, sigma and RST of these data points. Okay, the answer is written here. X bar is this, sigma is this, RST is. Just check whether your result is fine. Now the result, how it will be written, because this is the standard deviation. This is in terms of normal values and this is in terms of percentage. So you can write the values as 52.2 plus minus 2.4 or plus minus 4.6%, because it is in percentage terms. It is percentage RST. Okay, calculate it and see whether you are getting the same answers. There is one more term, variance. It is a very important term. In terms of this, the precision can be expressed. And this is the final term where we do the calculation and we try to plot it against, not directly to the standard deviation. We generally plot it against variance, the distribution curve also. That is S square or sigma square. It is a measure of how far a set of numbers is spread out. means how much far they are spread out. We generally square the standard deviation and we see the variance. I'm giving you one more question where you have to calculate again sigma, percentage RST and sigma square of these 3.080, 3.094, 3.107, 3.056, 3.112, 174 and 198. These are the answers. Check. If you are not getting the same answers, you can come back to me and message me. Okay. Now let's discuss one more part, that is errors, in the next video.